Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Smash Dispatch podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Fidel. Join alongside me, Mr. Ultimate Shadow X. Hello, bro. What's
Hello,
poppin'?
hello.
How's everything?
Good. Smash has been, I think it's been the best in terms of competitive and everything than ever. I mean, I think the game right now, there's just been a lot of positivity toward everything with Sora wrapping everything up. And again, like we said before, like we're not going to do full tournament recaps, but tournaments again have been back in person, and hype for the game has been really insane. Like we've had crazy sets, yesterday Leo and Spargo went to game 10.
Yeah, that was crazy.
In one of the most intense games ever. Like people are hyped about Smash again, which is really exciting.
It was fun again. Like ever since the local tourneys have popped up again, it's been really fun to just watch Smash tourneys again, because like the quarantine lockdown ones weren't as great, and it was small scale, but like to have it back now and like having Sora and having Sora, it's just like the energy is really up.
Yeah, and it's great because like obviously we had a lot of DLC drop during quarantine period.
Right.
And so we didn't really get to see a lot of the later characters in their full potential in a competitive setting.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we're really starting to see the DLC characters really break through, get to shine in really cool ways. Like again, nobody expected anything out of Violet. Like Violet dropped, right? Obviously a lot of people mad. Obviously but not just that, but also a lot of people just coming from the point of like sort of low tier, like slow, isn't gonna do anything. And now we're seeing like players like, obviously we're just seeing Leo carry with Violet. We're seeing a lot of Pyra Mythra, which is cool.
Oh yeah.
We're just Min even is doing really well. So it's like super cool to see a lot of these characters doing so well that we're stuck online only for such a long period of time.
Yeah, that's right. It's fun to watch these tourneys and everything. And again, the Smash energy is really high up, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, like obviously we're gonna talk a bit about our thoughts on now that the pack is done, but at first we have to talk about two notable final Sakurai columns. So Sakurai had his two final columns, and there was some pretty big info dumps, because usually they'll have a few tidbits, but these final two had a lot of tidbits in it. And the first one was really important because it was basically about the future of Smash. And yeah, that one kind of sort of blew me away, because like he is like pretty brutally honest in that column about the first notable thing he says in there. I was like, what's it called? He said how like they tried to find a successor, but like they just weren't able to, and literally just saying stuff how like Smash could legit never be the same without him, or that. And he once again said basically this probably isn't his last Smash. You have the article up in front of you, right?
As always, we shout out to Source Gaming. They always are the ones translating these columns, and they do such a good job. So first off, before we get into that, I just want to say shout out to Sakurai for living his best life now.
Yeah,
like dude is on a horse, dude is buying an Xbox, dude is just having you can just tell that he feels like so much relaxed that he can just sort of comfortably talk about his life and do whatever, and he's just out there living his best life. Shout out to Sakurai for that.
If he posted that horse picture before the final DLC, people would have been like, "It's a Fire Emblem character," and they're just
or the Xbox. If he posted the Xbox before that, people would have been like, "Oh, it's Master Chief." You know what I mean? Like now he's like he can relax, right? But yeah, so it says, so the interviewer said, with the release of Smash Ultimate, you've taken this series as far as it can go. How do you even follow up this game? And he says it's impossible. He says first, he's not thinking about making a sequel, but he also stresses, like, I've always said this. Like, again, like, Brawl was supposed to be the last Smash, and then Smash 4 was supposed to be the last Smash, etc., you know what I mean? But it's clear that we've reached our limit in many ways. We still need to think about whether it's worth disappointing fans by cutting down the number of fighters and content in order just to make a new game. So that's the one thing, right? Like, and this is something we talked about multiple times. Like, if there was a follow-up, there's no way that we would get every fighter. But I think from our perspective, like, obviously, a lot of people, I think, especially us, are at this point where it's like, if there ever had to be another Smash, we wouldn't mind that if there was a smaller roster, but they reworked, like, a lot of the older fighters. Because, again, like, characters still have really fun movesets, but it's clear that a lot of characters are outdated in Smash.
Right,
like,
for sure.
You can tell, like, characters like Donkey Kong, you could even argue Mario.
Even
like,
Samus now,
This doesn't reflect, Samus especially, holy shit. After Dread, I want a Samus that plays like Dread Samus, like not like lame projectile pew pew Samus. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
Yeah, and then it goes on to say, like, as in the case of many series, it's important to consider whether there's someone who can take over when the original creator is not around, right? He mentions, Berserk, because the creator of Berserk passed away this year, and Berserk didn't finish, so now people are like, what are they going to do with Berserk? You know what I mean? So he said, like, it's going to be difficult to approach. Some staff members have, like, Smash knowledge, but no one's ever been in his position yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
To be honest, I'd rather leave it to someone else because it's very hard to me. If the series is to continue, then there has to be a back and forth between me and Nintendo to discuss what to do. And then he just thanks everyone for the support. But yeah,
dude, it's like there's so much to unpack there because like it's first of all, it's like it's sad to think about. Like here's the thing, right? No matter what happens with the next Smash, he's even saying it that it's going to disappoint. Like it factual, like no matter how amazing maybe the next Smash is or whatever, there is no way in the world it's not gonna be a disappointing thing. Going from Ultimate to whatever's next, as amazing as a reboot can be and redo. And again, I'll go in open-minded to it and excited for it. It's going to be disappointing, like it bar none. You can't like. You
cannot deliver this roster ever again, and that's what people are going to focus on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's like, I think that's like a big mental thing. People are gonna have to like come to terms of like, okay, we got this legendary thing, we got to live with this legendary thing, but you kind of gotta mentally get ready to like not have that, because you'll never get that feeling again of getting Sora in Smash, getting getting fucking Sephiroth in Smash, getting Cloud, getting Pac-Man, getting Mega Man, all these like characters, and it's just like, sure, we'll get some new ones or we'll get some different ones, but like whenever we've speculated for DLC characters, like we've sort of started like to go down the barrel, like, okay, like obviously Master Chief is a big one, Crash is a big one, but then like people are starting like, you really got to go down the B tiers to sort of find big notable characters that haven't made it. Obviously there's a few,
right? Yeah,
it's not like the same.
Yeah, and I think also from that perspective, like again, in Sakurai's position as well, he's like, whoever is going to be set up for the next Smash Bros.
Oh yeah.
Like that's going to be insanely hard for them because they're going to have to deal with one, like you said, like the inevitable disappointment that obviously it's going to be hard that they can't get every character back, but also just like no one else has ever been in the position. Like with a lot of long-running fighting game series, it's been like they've taken so many different shapes and forms.
Yeah.
And Smash has always just been Smash. Like, sure, you have stuff later. It's like, you have Subspace or blah, blah, blah. But, like, even though the game is evolving, the core game is still all under Sakurai.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, you compare it to Street Fighter. It's like, Street Fighter 2 is different people than 3, than 4. And it's just, like, because people hand it off differently. And Sakurai has not handed the series off to anybody. So it's like, who do you even choose for that role? Like, especially again, when they're going to be in the position of they cannot deliver what Sakurai's been able to deliver.
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, like, like he said straight up, they tried to find someone, but they couldn't. And it's like, how do you even take on that position? Like, you have to be the guy, right? For the next game, not only not get half these characters back, right, but you have to like make sure, like, obviously he's just a director, there's like a bunch of people working on Smash stuff, but it's like you have to be the guy that makes the deals and all that, and like I'm sure that's almost impossible because Sakurai himself is a big part of why Smash can be what it is. I mean, he knows so many people in the industry, he's super well respected and all that, and so a lot of like companies and stuff will be willing to work with him on these crazy deals. So to give it to someone else, like I feel like that person would just fold under the pressure and fear. Like, I understand why it's almost an impossibility, and that he knows he's gonna have to come back like for the next thing he ends up doing eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like ultimately, if there's going to be another game down the line, probably for like whatever next console Nintendo does, I would imagine, like, I can only hope that the next person who it gets handed to is like, can be that charismatic front person like Sakurai. I think that matters a lot, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I think if they aren't somebody who has that charisma that can be in the forefront and can like talk to people like, like break it like, hey, like we're trying to reboot, we're trying to do something new. Because we have to take it in a new direction. Like, I hope you'll be like, I feel like if they aren't sort of in that sort of front limelight, I think it's going to be a lot harder. Like people aren't going to be as accepting. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I
exactly.
think a lot of the reason why people are so charismatic about smashing, even though like maybe stuff happens with the game that they don't agree with, but they always respect Sakurai and they respect his work. So because of who he is as a person, right? So I think like as long as the next person can sort of fill the shoes of like doing a presentation, at being open with the fans like Sakurai is a lot of the time, I think they could handle it. But again, it's such a daunting task. You know what I mean?
It is, and we'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, either way, like he did say, like for now they are not thinking of like a Smash for now. So like hopefully, so he's gonna cruise along. You know, obviously let this game live on. Maybe there will be like a deluxe, that has all the DLC bundled in, but for now, I
feel like that's how a lot of people right now. Like obviously that can change, but a lot of people right now are like, we like the next console they should just port this game.
It is,
like they did for like Mario Kart DX.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's what's gonna happen.
Add some stuff, maybe like a character, and just have the same game and port it. Because I feel like a lot of people are already at that stage because they know that this is never going to happen again. And they're like, this is such a insane roster. Like, you know what I mean?
I would love like to me, like a perfect way to just extend this game's life is like do just like Mario Kart, where like you port it, you add a character to, you add like one new mechanic or a thing, and you wrap it up. Because Mario Kart like the deluxe doesn't have a season pass or DLC, like make it very clear from the front, hey, this is the deluxe port, you're getting a character or two, you're getting this, here's a few more stages we missed out on, and that's it. Like bye-bye. Like we're not doing the whole rollout for this, maybe even say like we are working on the future of Smash Bros, but for now here's this, just so people know at least there's something in the horizon to look for. But that's sort of it for the main stuff there. But then he had his final column, which was really fascinating, where he sort of just did an overview on Fighter Pass 2, especially like those characters and like how they got them in, how the stuff was in there. So like let me pull this
covers up. Actually
really good.
He covers not only that, but he also covers the first round of DLC as well. So basically he does a whole roundup on both fighter passes, which he dumped a lot of super cool info about that, which I'm awesome. Really excited for. He starts off with Sora, because obviously Sora's like the hot topic, right? He says like obviously Sora, we all knew he was the #1 on the ballot. That already got brought up. He says, Sora mostly fights in the air in Kingdom Hearts, and he wanted to replicate that for Smash. And then he also talks about how he wanted to add aerial smash attacks.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And he said they felt it was too complicated. And that's interesting because if anyone plays Rivals of Aether actually has aerial smash attacks. So it's interesting. Like that concept has been toyed with and thought of before, and it's cool that it was considered for Sora, but it was never actually added.
That's such an interesting, because even I've never really thought of that. It's definitely weird. I mean, it would have been cool. But actually, no, it wasn't even for Sora. I think, he says it's just straight up for Smash. Like, the original pack for Smash Ultimate, there was consideration for adding smash attacks in the air. So it wasn't even like a Sora exclusive thing. The entire game almost had aerial smash attacks, which is really really fascinating to think that the game, because that would have been a major sort of
that would have been a huge addition to how the gameplay flows.
But clearly it's something that's being thought of.
And it's interesting because he said though that the reason that they didn't go with it is that they felt it wasn't balanced in a sense of more skilled players are obviously going to know how to use them better, and in that sense he decided against it because he wanted to keep that casual hardcore balance between players. And then he adds that again, Sora was also supposed to be that balance of aerial combat, but that's accessible to newer players. Because obviously he knew that a lot of newcomers and a lot of people who don't play Smash are going to be excited for Sora, so they want the character to be someone that they can pick up very easily, you know?
So there's that, and then what else? He says he was in charge of Sora's reveal trailer. The coolest thing is Mario would have, he kept the canon, right? He was like, Mario would have swung a Keyblade to open the door, but because only Keyblade wielders can use the Keyblade, it was changed to its current form, which I thought was really fun. But I preferred that because the flaming throw caused like buildup, right? Whereas like
yes,
if we had just seen the Keyblade on the ground, we would have known way like before that, like holy shit, this is Sora, you know. I find that, like,
and
the
as
flame
cool as
sword
the image of
cool.
Mario like actually using a Keyblade would have been, the actual fire throw was like, it was really cool because like like again, it wasn't right away. You couldn't tell until you saw like the actual thing. You know what I mean? And I think the image of him throwing it is way cooler than him just like holding it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But obviously, like Nomura being like, hey man, you got to keep this in canon if we're doing this. But yeah, that's stuff for the Sora stuff. Yeah, then he says Joker's concept was difficult. It was a difficult time for Sakurai as the base game was just being finished. In addition, Sakurai had to decide on the general plan for DLC like graphics, animation. Arsene fighting with Joker also doubled the work, which I found was like interesting, right? And he had to, and like
he puts like the models, he said, and again he says that Sakurai poses figures for all their moves because of Arsene. Joker was posed with 2 figures. So again, credence to the whole figure theory, because if you remember, I think it was in the Pyramithra breakdown, he was like, I have a big drawer of every character who I want to add who it has a figure, because again, it says like Sakurai really uses these figures to sort of pose and figure out attacks. So again, if a character has a figure, it can be in Smash, you know?
Which is such a broad thing, but yeah.
But looking back on it, it's crazy Joker was the first Fighter Pass character. Yeah. Because not only that, was it, you know, a big third party, especially on a series that doesn't have like the biggest Nintendo history. It was a character with a crazy mechanic like Arsene. Like again, Arsene is there behind the character. He does all these animations. Like there was a lot of work put into Joker, and Joker came out relatively close to win, or was like revealed and came out close to when the game was like first came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe. It was like 4 months later, which is not like that much later, and that's awesome. And then for Hero, Sakurai's excited to have Dragon Quest in Smash. At first, he thought that Hero wouldn't be voiced, but Dragon Quest 11S, a voice was added, so they worked with Square Enix to include official voices and names for each hero, which is really cool because I think it's also like he said it in the OG presentation where it's the first time some of those other heroes had a voice, which is like
was. Yeah, they worked with again, they worked with Square to do that, and actually it's super cool because if you turn your game to Japanese, the heroes actually yell the names of the spells.
Oh, that's cool.
Those are extra voice lines that just aren't in the that aren't in the English version. So they actually have a lot of voice acting, which is super cool. And I think for Dragon Quest fans, like that was one of the best things that they delivered. Like was the extra costumes of all like some of the legacy Dragon Quest characters.
Hero,
because I remember like
if
you watch Japanese reactions to the Hero trailer,
they're like so much more excited.
Erdrick shows up at the very end, they all lose it. The Dragon Quest Smash trailer is actually the most like the Japanese version of the Dragon Quest Smash trailer. It's actually the most viewed Smash trailer. It's like 7 million.
Oh
it's
wow,
crazy.
I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it just shows how much Dragon Quest is important.
Massive in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're lucky to have that series in there. Like. Again, Square is super stingy, but it's nice that we're finally able with the Fighters Pass to get those characters.
Yeah, exactly. Then with Banjo-Kazooie, in the Fighters Battle, Banjo-Kazooie followed Sora. Their concept was 2-1. Wonder Wing has a move that's unique to them because it's the only move that can be used up to 5 times. Because of that, it's very strong. Banjo-Kazooie also featured the first arrangement from outside of Japan with Grant Kirkhope, who worked on the original music for the game, which was awesome. I was happy to see similarities in Banjo's fighter chair to King K. Rool Sakurai. It was not only enjoyable, but it also helped keep the cost of production down. The revealed chairs are more expensive than people imagine.
I can imagine. I mean, and again, so like first off, Sakurai talked about how Banjo-Kazooie put him out of his comfort zone. And again, like one of the reasons is like he had to work with a lot of overseas parties. Like again, Grant Kirkhope all the way in the UK, had to be contacted by Sakurai, and it was like he was not used to having those sort of exchanges. You know what I mean? And then it's actually kind of funny how, I mean, it was a production cost thing, right, with that review shit, but also I think people didn't even think about it because like, they were like, oh, it's a nod to rare games.
Funny.
You know what I mean? Like, people didn't even think about it like, oh, production cost thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a mix of both. Yeah, no, it's a genius move where like you save on production costs, but you also get like a really clever concept. And I'm glad that was the only time they did that, right? Because it felt like that was especially weird that we were all like, what? And then like you see the jiggy, like, oh my god. Even before that, like a lot of people were just like, oh, it has to be Banjo because it's like it's rare and all that stuff. So really cool how they they ended up doing that. So that's really the cool stuff with Banjo. And then next is Terry. So Bandai Namco produced this trailer, which makes sense. There was a scene with Geese that was taken from Fatal Fury 3. The person in charge of that trailer also worked on the game Genpai Tomaden. I don't know.
I've never heard of that game.
Never heard of that in my life.
Yeah, and then I think my favorite part of that is he says his goal was to make the coolest Terry Bogard ever.
That's dope.
And
I love that.
There were some some young fans who don't know Terry, but that wasn't important. It was vital that they could understand the character through Smash. Honestly,
I love that,
Chad move, like you could tell, like I think isn't the Terry presentation like still? It's one of the longest ones because he spends so much time talking about how much he loves Fatal Fury. He loves SNK games. Like he is just the big diehard Fatal Fury fan. It was like you could tell
he was like talking about everything.
And honestly, like for people who don't know, Sakurai has said this. The King of Fighters was like, I think it was the King of Fighters was the biggest inspiration to him to make Smash because he was playing the game and he played the game a shit ton. And then he noticed that there were some people who were like frustrated that they couldn't win against other players. And he's like, I want to make a game that is a balanced game that even new like casual people can enjoy fighting games. Like that was basically like one of his big drives in making Smash and was that. So it's super cool to see that come full circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's I think just seeing his legacy for that, and like that is the coolest thing of he wanted to make Terry cool as fuck. I think he did an amazing job at that because like Terry's style in Smash is awesome. So many new people know Terry now, and so many people think he's so dope. It's just like everything about that character is stylish. Everything about it is dope. And I think
I really like
people
how he says like he knows that there were younger fans who didn't know who Terry is, but as he said in Terry's like trailer, recognizability isn't like the only factor to get into Smash. You know what I mean? And I like that he takes it as a challenge. You know, it's not like, oh well, I'm gonna put this character and maybe some people don't know who they are, but Sakurai sees it as a challenge. It's like I want to make them cool through Smash. Like, I want people to like them through Smash. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Which I love that shit. Then we get to Byleth. Byleth, when development started on them, 3S wasn't even released yet. So even with a development build, it took Sakurai a lot of time to get through the game. When Sakurai played, it was top secret. Other employees couldn't see his screen, and he couldn't bring that build of the game home. Which it's crazy to think how like. Even the employees working on Smash, a lot of the times they're not allowed to know what character he's working on before they're supposed to know. You know what I mean? Like it's Sakurai's job to play through the game
but
first.
It's funny that I have like this mental image now of like everyone's in the office and Sakurai's like locked in like a room and he's just like playing a game and nobody knows what he's doing in there.
Literally.
Like that's crazy though. But like again, it just shows how much info Sakurai is given ahead of time, right? Like
absolutely.
Like even when remember when like he was like, oh, I just like randomly chose Greninja because I thought he looked cool. Like he saw all that info way before X and Y even came out back then. You know what I mean?
And I wonder like if it must be like. I'm sure it must be harder to play through a dev version of the game because like it's incomplete. You're running through bugs, you're going through issues, but like you're just getting a feel of that world and that character. So then we go to part 2 of the thread, which is Fighter Pass 2. Springman was an assist trophy because he couldn't make it into the base game as a fighter. Thank God. For a DLC character, Sakurai felt like the long arms were key to making a fighter who feels like they're from ARMS.
And again, like
character
you know, we talked about back in the day how like Min feels like you are playing at ARMS. Like it doesn't even feel like you're playing Smash. Like that's a really cool way to translate the character with the A and B assigned to each arm. I mean, I said, you know, it was a challenge to make them work. And again, you know, it's awesome that it got to be Min because that's the creator's favorite character. That was like the popular fan voted character, so they made it work without having to just go use Springman, you know?
Yeah, no, like again, like I wouldn't have been mad at Springman joining. Like he's the mascot, I get it. But I'm definitely way happier that it ended up being Min. You know, so I think that's a way better outcome. Obviously, this is something we've heard before, but they reiterate. Adding the code for blocks on every stage for Steve was quite tough and took some time. Enderman also caused some trouble as they blended with the dark backgrounds. Sakurai made multiple... This is hilarious. Sakurai made multiple quizzes asking the staff where Enderman was located on various screenshots. The idea of Sakurai having like a Where's Waldo, but for Enderman is so
can you draw a circle like around the Enderman? Can you spot the Enderman?
It's so
Dude, imagine
funny,
like you go home and your wife is like, I gotta you go home to your wife. He's like, which you got a lot of work today, and he's like, yeah. You like a stack of papers, like just flop it down. It's like gotta find Enderman, gotta find. It's funny.
It's so funny, man. It's great.
But like that's like it just shows how much you have to consider when you put in a character down to like the colors that are on them, right? Like I never would even thought of like, oh yeah, Enderman's a problem because he blends into the background. That would have never even like slipped my mind when I, you know what I mean? And then adding the blocks, that was like crazy. Like again. We knew that, like, Steve, like way back, there was, like, people saying, like, there's going to be, like, Minecraft content. And then, like, obviously never materialized until way later because, like, there was so much involved with that character.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely, man. But yeah, so very happy with how Steve turned out. Next, Sephiroth. Yeah, so his appearance in the Advent Children was important base. Sakurai was worried about the reach of his sword, but figured if Min Min was okay, Sephiroth would be doable. He worried about balancing, but wanted to make sure Sephiroth left a strong impression, which I think he did a great job of. I think Sephiroth has left a very strong impression. Again, not too much
I mean, a lot of
there,
people,
really,
you know, myself included, I think that's still the greatest trailer, like production value wise, like build up wise, and then also with regards to balance. I think like Sephiroth, a lot of people like feel like he's very well balanced because he's so light.
People like him.
He doesn't feel oppressive to play against because he's light. Like even though he has a comeback mechanic. I think like they handled the character really well. He's fun to play. A lot of people like the character. I love that Sakurai's just like the biggest Advent Children fan in the world.
Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely good. I love that shit. Then one that like I'm so glad didn't happen. It also fucked me up. For Pyra Mythra, Sakurai wanted Rex to appear with them at first, but it didn't work out due to hardware limitations. Their costumes are pretty detailed, so the two of them push the game's limit, which is really the costume alone, which is crazy. Smash Ultimate should consistently run at 30 FPS. Having Pyra and Mythra appear in 8-player Smash was difficult. If Sakurai had to pick one, he would have picked Pyra. There were several other considerations to make their fighter work, like one that's just Rex with Pyra sometimes, Pyra with Rex sometimes, just Pyra. So clear, it's very clear that like honestly, like I think he put Mythra in just because he wanted to make both fans happy, because it's very clear that he wanted this to be like Rex or Rex and Pyra, which, you know, that's fine. Like those are like the base two characters you get in Xenoblade. In some ways Mythra is a spoiler, even though like by this point pretty common knowledge Mythra's in the game and has Torna and stuff, but I get where he's coming from, and also he has a preference very clearly.
But yeah, I think like this is one of those things where you know, the limitation bred like the best possible outcome. Like I thought they handled this character in the best way possible, where having a swap, you get both represented, and you have such a more unique character because of it, right? Like I can't even imagine, like I feel like if it was Rex and Pyra together, I just sort of feel like it wouldn't have felt as special, because like what is Rex gonna do? Like it's not like they're ice climbers, you know what I mean?
I always like whenever like pre them being revealed, I always imagined it would be like Rex you're playing as, and in the background you have like Pyra Mythra giving you different abilities, you know, like they're sort of like Pokemon trainer where they're standing in the back and they're giving Rex different powers to use, you know. But I think this was just the best outcome, because obviously I know I love Rex, but like obviously these are the two characters that mean the most people, and like it is crazy that even something like the like characters' costumes are what push the game's limit, you know, like with both of them in there. But I'm really happy they did it, because I mean technically for 8-player Smash you have both of them in there, because like they're technically both of their character models are being swapped in and out very quickly. So again, still, and I think this was the best possible outcome. I don't think anything.
Yeah, it's interesting because like again, like the whole 8-player Smash thing, and also because of the 3DS was like one of the reasons why they cut ice climbers in Smash 4 era. So it's interesting like to see that still is something that they have to work with and consider for every character. But again, like I think we got such an interesting character that really hasn't felt like it's been done before. Like obviously you've had like Zelda transforming into Sheik in the other games where they're like totally different characters, but like after the split, now it's like we actually have like a transforming character again, which is really like a nice throwback to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then for Kazuya, Sakurai wanted to capture the 3D fighting game spirit. If the fighter wasn't Kazuya with his Devil Jin, Tekken wouldn't work in Smash. For example, if it was Heihachi, what would his up B be? Nothing. Sakurai felt fortunate to have settled with Kazuya, which I thought, again, really cool one.
Yeah, and I think, I think that worked out. Like, I know a lot of people speculated Heihachi for a really long time.
Yeah,
and Sakurai in Smash 4 was like, we wanted Heihachi, but I couldn't figure out how to make him work. Now we know it's because, like, there's a lot of moves in Tekken, but not a lot of conducive to, like, upward movement. Because you don't really jump that much in Tekken. Like, and you don't go that high. You have really short jumps. But it's great that, like, Kazuya is still, like, the main, like character of Tekken. Like, he's obviously the OG recognizable character. So, like, it worked out in the best way for Kazuya. And shout out to, like, making a Tekken character feel like a Tekken character, even though you don't have 3D movement. You know what I mean?
Literally, like, it's like, bro, you can't, I'm telling you, you can't play that character unless you like Tekken, because he has so many moves. Like, if you want to maximize your gameplay with that character, you need to learn that moveset, which is crazy to learn. But I think it's super dope. So shout out that.
And it just flows together so well. Yeah, for sure.
No, I was gonna say, like, and it's just so funny how one of my favorite things is, like, the Harada and Sakurai interview, where, like, Harada was like, I thought we were pretty, laid back and easy on you for what's called, for Kazuya. And Sakurai was like, I don't know about that. Like, it was, that's still a really cool memory there. So
here's my favorite part. This is my absolute favorite part of this interview. For the Sakurai Presents videos, they came up with it after Joker. So remember, guys, Joker did not have a Sakurai Presents. It had a 15-minute narrator presentation with, like, the Nintendo Direct guy. And he basically talked about Joker's moves, and it was more of like a, like a 50-minute breakdown. They didn't really talk about the history. It was just like, here's Joker, here's what the stage can do. And it says Nintendo came up with the idea of Sakurai presenting the fighters because that video cost too much money to make. And each character would introduce something unique that was important in that presentation. I thought, what do you mean? Like, I thought that was so funny. Like, that video cost too much to make, so they were like, Sakurai, do it yourself.
Well, because I guess for that video specifically, they got the voice actors too, right? Remember for the Joker
they
video,
talked about, like, Arsene is so cool, like, what I mean?
Yeah, they had those voice actors.
And also it was more of like it was almost like an extended, like, trailer, because they had a lot of cinematic stuff in there instead of just Sakurai playing as the character.
Again, this is like the 4th time we've heard this of, like, bro, this is Smash Bros. This game is generating millions of dollars.
But it's funny because it's like, I would have thought it'd been the other way around. Yeah. I thought it would have been, like, more to have, like, let's film Sakurai, let's get Sakurai there, let's have the dev build and show Sakurai play. I thought there was more production value in the Sakurai Presents than there was in that Joker trailer. Like, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's funny because, like, literally everyone is like, the Sakurai Presents are literally the best part of, like, the DLC.
Well, Sakurai's also like a psychopath. He'll be sitting in the Presents holding, like, 2 controllers playing at once. And I'm like, oh, what is this? What is this sorcery, bro? I can barely play the game with 1 controller.
But it's so funny because it's like, nobody would have thought anything if he didn't say that. That's, like, also the funniest part. It's like, it was due to production, like, due to keep production costs. I was like, really? I would have thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
But I'm glad. Like, and then again, I was saying, like, whoever takes on the mantle of Smash after Sakurai, I feel like I just want them to have that sort of charisma and do those sort of breakdowns for the characters. So I feel like it helps a lot. It helps people understand, where the development is coming from. Why the character was chosen, the history of the character, and, like, I'm honestly sad that Joker never got that same treatment.
I know.
There was that thing where Sakurai went to the Atlas headquarters and he talked about it a little bit.
Hugged Morgana
he hugged Morgana, but I would have loved a proper breakdown from Sakurai.
I agree. But yeah, when it came to balancing, it was important to keep the features that made each character unique and not to eliminate their weaknesses. Sakurai believed it was best not to eliminate characters' strong points, just to add to other weaknesses to compensate. This is what I say for all fighting games. I really think unless a character is busted into the ground, buffing characters and giving them more cool shit is always better, because there's nothing worse than like you get a patch or, like, something like your character's worse and you're just like, well, this kind of sucks. Like, now I just don't want to play him. You know, I always think but I think buffing everyone so that more people have more tools to do cool shit is more important than like
because like again, there's nothing worse than feeling like you're playing a good character and then they just completely gut the character and you're like, like that sucks. And I feel like a lot of people will know and will openly admit the balancing of Smash 4 felt that way, right? Yeah. A character maybe had something cool or like got buffed in some way, and then it would just get removed, and it would be like, come on, I feel like characters were just constantly getting nerfed. Everyone was getting nerfed constantly. All the fun stuff in Smash would get like removed. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like the balancing philosophy is greatly shifted in Ultimate, where there are nerfs for good characters, but they don't feel backbreaking to where it's like the character just doesn't feel the same anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
and
even Joker, who has had multiple nerfs, and the nerfs have obviously he's not as strong, but he still is a very, very strong character, and he plays still the same, and you can do a lot of the same things. It just feels more in line. Yeah. And then they compensate. They buff a lot of the lower tiers, and then they buff moves that people are like, this isn't a very good move, and then they'll buff that. So it feels like the balancing philosophy this time has been a lot better, and I feel like even considering the amount of characters we have, this genuinely feels like one of the most balanced Smash games for sure. Like, you have obviously top tier characters, really good characters in this game that are better than others. That's just how it is. But it doesn't feel oppressive to where you can say there's one definitive best character who beats everyone. It's not like that. There's no Bayo, there's no Meta Knight that's like that. You know what I mean?
Dude, like one of my favorite things yesterday was seeing what's his name, T playing Pac-Man, and it was just beautiful. Like just
the character diversity right now is taking amazing shape in competitive. Like obviously you have Leo winning a lot on Violet, but like again, there's Violet. We still have big threats like we have Elegant Luigi. Like where does Luigi come from? Luigi's still showing up, right? We still have your Zero Suit Samus with Mario. We still have like just Fargo with Pyramith. Like the diversity of characters. I think this is the best it's ever been. Smash, I think.
Absolutely. Incredibly. Sakurai and the team had to imagine a wide range of players and playstyles. Smash has always been made to cater to a wide range of players, so it's important to try it out in various scenarios. He says, there's no right way to play Smash, just play how you want and have fun, which, like that's sort of where this part caps, you know?
And I think that's the most important thing to keep in mind is that, there's a lot of people who are like, why don't they just focus so much on strictly on competitive Smash? And guys, like, we have to bring it home. They will never do that because Sakurai wants the game to be balanced.
Absolutely.
You are not going to have an uber competitive, Smash mindset, get that level of support, because that is not what Smash is to Sakurai. Smash is something that everyone is supposed to enjoy, that it, brings in everybody together. Yeah. And whether you just like the game for the characters, or if you want to be competitive, you can appreciate the game, but it's never going to be fully one way or the other.
Yeah, because man, like people forget, like this game is massively played casual. I mean, like even me, like honestly, like the past a month or two.
The past few times we've played, we've been playing with items and just having a fun time,
Yeah, like 4 players, items. Like people almost forget. Like obviously, I love doing 1v1s and that. Like I'll always love that. But it's like people forget how fucking crazy and fun it is. Like to just jump in with 4 players and items and make it chaotic and fun. Because Smash is chaotic. Like it's like you could have 8 player Smashes. Obviously I would add that recently. Like you can have so many people playing at once. It's like at the end of the day, like. We're lucky that it's a game that's been able to play it competitively, because it is so much more than that. It is the crazy stage, it is all that. And to see Sakurai sort of cater to the competitive crowd, that is, I love that. And
I think people don't understand, like, this is what gives Smash the longevity, is the ability to play how you want. Like, you can play with items, you can choose your items, you can do online competitive, you can do online for fun, you can do all this cool stuff that you don't get that freedom of options in a lot of other fighting games. Yeah, it's just not there. Like, obviously you have your big fighting game series, like you have your Street Fighters that obviously that only last as long as like the new entry. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the level of customizability ensures that, like, Smash is an event and that it lasts for so long between games because you have that sort of freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And he ends here saying, I would like to thank everyone for the support till now. The reason we've been able to do so many things with the DLC is because of all the people who support it, and I'm very, very grateful for that. We've created a game that allows you to do a lot of different things, so we hope you'll try whatever you like and not just stick to one thing, which we always say, very important. You diversify what you play. There's nothing better than like when you're playing a character for so long that you randomly try a different one and you're just like, oh fuck, like this changes the entire game for me. And yeah, man. So no, I think Yeah, Smash is really special. I think this interview was really cool. And again, it's like, I'm gonna miss these just because like I even when there wasn't new Smash stuff, it's nice hearing Sakurai talk about what he's playing, what he's doing. Now again, he did say like he's gonna have stuff on his Twitter account. Like it's not gonna be every day like he said, but there will be stuff, you know, and it'll always be fun to see what he's up to. You know, hopefully you can just see videos of him, like videos he takes from like a screen share of a game or something like that. Like I feel like he's just there's something about him. Like he to me, he's almost like obviously he's not a content creator, but he's like a personality. He's someone I like to know like how they're doing, what they're doing, and all that stuff. And I just like, I think he's done an amazing job with the game, but he's also done an amazing job to like communicate with the community and all that stuff. Even though like obviously there's stuff like with the online or Nintendo and all that, it always feels like at least Sakurai as a person has done his best with everything he can there.
Yeah, no, and I think, you know, ultimately, you know, when Sakurai was like waving goodbye at the end of the Sora presentation, like that like took the heart. You're never gonna see that him in the forefront, like talking about characters and his passion like that again in Sora for a very, very long time.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think I just want to see Sakurai do you know, a new original game, or maybe go back to Kid, like do something that isn't Smash. Do a passion project. It's like you know, I obviously will support like whatever he wants to put out because he's so fun and creative. It's like, how can you not love this man? Like, I know it's like, you know, he you know, it's not like a level of worship or anything like, but it's just like an appreciation that, you know, he's trying his best and he really wants to deliver for the sake of fans. You know what I mean?
He's always been what I think is the heart of gaming, which is like he's the king of gameplay to me. Like when you look back at the Kirby games, he's also the king of content. Like if you look back at an OG, like a game like Kirby Superstar back in the day, like how much shit you would just unlock and just have more ways to play the game. You know, you look at something like Kirby Air Ride, how much shit you would unlock and have more ways to play the game. You look at Kid Icarus Uprising, like the amount of shit
that game was crazy. I mean, the online play and the amount of weapons,
everything, man. And it's just like that's what I love. It's like he's always been the type of director to like give the most amount of value like with what you get. Like Smash is worth way more than like what the game is costing in the DLC. Like bro, like like the both season passes combined are like $55 because I think pass 1 is like 25, pass 2 is like 30. So like, and like some developers have like their season 1 pass for like $50 and you don't get nearly as much. And it's just like it's crazy. But either way,
the base roster of Smash was one of the biggest in fighting games. You know what I mean? And so just think about that. Like think about how big the base roster was, even and how good the base roster was of everyone coming back, etc. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, man. But yeah, dude. No, like that's everything with this interview. And in general, like I said, we've sort of talked about a lot throughout the years. But I personally do think Season Pass 2 was better than Season Pass 1. And I like Season Pass 1. I love Season Pass 1. It has like, you know, it has Joker, has Banjo, has Hero, has a lot of dope picks, right? But I think the big three for me of Pass 2 where it's like Sora, Sephiroth, Mithra Pyre, and even honestly for iconic reasons aside from us like Minecraft Steve, like I think objectively Season Pass 2 is a way crazier pass.
I have to agree because I think like a lot of Season Pass 2, it was just a character nobody thought would happen. Nobody would thought these characters would happen in Season Pass 2, right? Like obviously like Min, Pyre, Mithra people sort of like expected. The rest like no way. And I think people were like, oh, they're overdue for a Tekken character, but people didn't think it would be Kazuya, you know what I mean?
Right.
So even in that sense, like I think Season Pass 2, again, I think for the sake of iconography, for how memorable it was, for how it delivered to fans, I think definitely I like Season Pass 2 in terms of that. I think the actual content of Season Pass 1 I like more because like all the music we got with Terry, with Joker, the stages I liked a lot more. I like the content, like, and the actual characters in terms of how what characters I like to play. I like the content of 1 more, but I have to like fully admit that 2 blew everything out of the water.
Yeah, because you look objectively, like if you look at it, like aside from Hero, right, who was like from Dragon Quest, who's the icon, it was like from a massive iconic franchise. Joker, you know, Persona, still, you know, smaller JRPG, right? Still sells a lot. Obviously, Persona 5 big, but like still new character. Banjo-Kazooie hasn't been relevant in a long time. You know what I mean? Terry Bogard, SNK/KOF, smaller scale. You know, bigger in other territories, but not massive worldwide. Violet, you know, new game just came out with Fire Emblem, still big, not as crazy. Then Min Min also fits that category, but then Steve Alex, iconic to like a generation. Minecraft is the biggest thing in the world still. Sephiroth, the biggest JRPG character. Then you have again Pyramithra, more low-key for like the hardcore JRPGs. Then you have Kazuya, who's like one of the most popular like fighting game characters because Tekken's massive.
Yeah, Tekken's so big. Tekken is so big. Yeah. You know? And people were like, Sora. You know, they were surprised that they didn't get a Bandai Namco character, which is like what I was saying.
Exactly.
And people were like, you know, there should be a Tekken character, another Bandai character, because all they had was Pac-Man. So it's nice that like they still delivered something people expected, but not in like a really like way that people were like, oh yeah, I saw that coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then like having Sora as the finale, also a massive one. It's like I think like Pass 2 is way more big for like massive iconic things, but Season Pass 1 has like a lot of like characters filled with love and that are still like from franchises that are like still big and are still thriving, you know what I mean? And I think amazing. Like obviously this is like the best Season Pass for like fighting games ever. But yeah, man, good job on the team and everything. And yeah, I'm gonna miss it. Like I already do miss it, you know, like it's sad to think that like at the Game Awards, right, we're not gonna predict the Smash character, you know, and all that stuff.
For sure.
So
like it is a lot to take in, but like again, I think, like I said at the start, like to wrap everything, like I think the future of the game is the brightest it's been.
Absolutely.
You know, just the amount of energy and positivity and hype around the game is only going up, especially because of competitive, but just because of how Sora left on such a great note for everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I cannot wait to see, you know, obviously this game is going to have such a good legacy. I feel like even if they do make, you know, a new Smash that is a reboot, whatever they do with the game, this is a game that still people are still going to play competitively, still will have a lot of hype and discussion around it. Like this game is never going to die just because of the legacy it has already. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, so that's it for this. A lot of info from that Sakurai things. That's our sort of thoughts on Pass 1 and 2. And yeah, so thank y'all for watching. We'll be back. Like I said, there's probably still a few more topics we got for Smash in general. And we'll figure out what the future of the show and all that stuff will be once we get through. So anyways, thank y'all for watching. I'm Fidel. Obviously, subscribe here for more. Follow me on Twitter, on the download, on Twitch. I stream Monday through Saturday. Y'all know. Follow Ultimate Shadow X at Ultimate Shadow X on YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. And yeah, thank y'all for watching. Peace out.
Peace out.